Guys, this time we're looking at matrices. We're going to add, subtract, and multiply. First thing you need to be able to do is name them. You name them by their size. So when it says name or determine the size, it's really asking the same question. So when you name it by how many rows and then how many columns it has. Rows go side to side, like you row across a river. Hopefully you're not going up or down when you're rowing across a river. So that goes side to side for a row, and then columns go up and down like columns of the Roman Colosseum or anything like that. So they go up and down holding up like a wall, sort of. Holding up the roof. So rows first. There's this row and that one, so that's 2 rows. And then you name the columns, and it also has 2. So it's a 2 by 2 matrix. Matrix B here has 1, 2 rows, and 1, 2, 3 columns. So it's a 2 by 3. Matrix C, 1, 2 rows, and then 1, 2 columns. Same thing for D, 1, 2, 3 across, 3 rows, and then 1, 2 columns. Matrix E, don't be confused or discouraged by these variables here. They're just there. Doesn't really matter. 2 rows and 2 columns. So that's a 2 by 2. Most of these were 2 by 2. All right, so next we're going to look at the first couple of operations. You can multiply by a scalar, which is just a number. You just distribute the number to each term of the matrix. When you subtract, we're actually going to distribute the minus or the subtracting symbol, the negative, and then follow the adding rules. And when we add, you just add corresponding parts of the matrix, or of the matrices if it's more than one, which it will be. Add corresponding parts of each, and they need to be the same size in order for that to work. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to do all of those steps kind of all at once. So 3c minus a. 3c means we're just multiplying 3 to this entire C matrix. So when we distribute that 3, we get negative 3, 9, negative 3, and 12. Just distribute the 3 to each term. So that's our 3c. And then minus a, remember we said we're going to distribute that negative and turn it to an addition of matrices. So we're just going to distribute that negative. So that's negative 2, positive 1, negative 3, negative 5. It just changed all the signs. So now we add corresponding parts. So we're going to take this top left number right here, negative 3, and negative 2. We're adding the top lefts together to get negative 5. Top right, 9 plus 1. Bottom left, negative 3 and negative 3 is negative 6. Bottom right, 12 minus 5, or 12 plus negative 5, either it's the same thing, 7. So that's pretty much all 3 of those operations there. We have distributing a scalar, multiplying by the scalar, the 3, and then subtracting is really like addition. Addition is just combining corresponding parts. We'll do another one just for good practice. 2e, so we're going to distribute e here, or 2 to the matrix E. So that turns to 8x minus 2. That would be 6, and then 2y. And now plus a, so let's rewrite a. It's just addition, so we don't need to do anything with it. And now we add corresponding parts. So we do the top left, the 8x with the 2, Those are not like terms, so it's just 8x plus 2. That would be your top left element of the matrix. -2, -1, that's -3. 6 and 3, that's 9. 2y plus 5, those are not like terms, so we leave it as an expression. 2y plus 5. So adding and subtracting, they have to be the same size. If they're not, you would just say it's not possible or undefined. If they're not the same size, like a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. And then we just add corresponding parts. So for example, if this said to do A plus B for these matrices, you can't do that because they're not the same size. A plus B would be undefined. Because we have a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 3. That would not work. All right, multiplying matrices is significantly more steps and more challenging. We've got a little process here to keep you organized, much like solving the systems of 3 equations that we did in the last lesson. The hardest part is keeping organized. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to write the matrices side by side, and we're going to write the size of each matrix right above. We'll come back to these steps here in a second. So we're doing A times B, so we're going to write them side by side. 2, -1, 3, 5. And then next to it, we're going to write B. And we are going to write the size of each of these above the matrix. So this is a 2 by 2. And this is a 2 by 3. So that's part 1. Then it says those inside numbers from the sizes, those have to match, and the outside numbers tell you the size of your answer. So those inside numbers have to match. They do. They're both 2's. And then the outside tells you the size of your answer. So our answer is going to be a 2 by 3. 2 by 3. So with those dimensions that we just got, we're going to draw boxes. So we're going to make a 2 by 3 set of rectangles. And then this last part was kind of hard to put into words. Hopefully this makes sense after you see it. But for each box in the answer, we're going to multiply the matching numbers and add all the products up. So a 2 by 3 set of boxes. So it's going to have 2 rows. So now we have 2 rows. And then it's going to have 3 columns, so we need 3 boxes across. So we have 2 rows and 3 columns. We're just making boxes out of that. Now when we do this, we are going to take, for each of these boxes, so we have the top left, the top middle, bottom middle, top right, bottom right. We can just talk about those boxes as where they are. That tells you what you're going to be multiplying. So for the top left, we're going to multiply the top times the left. Top left, we do top times left. Now, when we do that, we have 2 numbers and 2 numbers. We take the first number times the first number. So 2 times -1 is -2. And then we take the second number times the second number. -1 times 2 is -2. And we're just going to write both numbers in these boxes, and we finish it off by adding up the numbers in the boxes. So now for top middle, now we're going to take the top times the middle. For the top middle, we just take top times middle. Top times middle, and that will give us the top middle. Again, we do first number times first number, that's 10. Second number times second number, that's 4. Now we're going to move on. We're going to do the top. For the top right box, we do top times right. First number times first number. 2 times -3. Second number times second number. -1 times 6. And now we'll move on to the bottom row. So now we're going to do bottom left box is bottom times left. 3 times -1, 5 times 2. Now for the bottom middle, we do bottom times middle. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times -4 is -20. And then for the bottom right box, we do bottom times right. 3 times -3. 5 times 6. All right, there we go. We've got all of those. We've got our boxes filled out. That shows you most of the work. It keeps you organized also. Now for each box in the answer, you multiply the matching numbers like we did, and then add all the products. That's our final step, is we add all of those things from the boxes. So we have 2 numbers here that we got, -2 and -2. We add those, and that's -4. That's our final answer, top left box, top left of our answer. 10 and 4, that's 14. That goes in the middle. -6, -6 is -12. -3 and 10, that's 7. 15 minus 20 is -5. -9 and 30, it's 21. Now, with these, your calculator can also do matrices. We can go all the way back. We can type in some of these and show addition. Let's do one that just had numbers in it. The variables don't work on the calculator. So for this one, we could have actually typed this in exactly as it was, as long as we type in the matrices. So the hardest part is actually getting there on your Casio. Go to the main calculator part, option 1 here. And then we have this MAT, that stands for matrix. MAT is matrix here. So we push F3. Now, for simplicity, I'm going to type in matrix C as matrix C right here. And again, it's asking for dimensions, so you have to be able to do pretty much everything that you would do by hand, you have to be able to do for your calculator. So C, that is a 2 by 2. And then it's going to ask for each number, so you just type them in exactly as it's written. And I'm going back to the originals because we can do 3C as part of the calculator. We don't need to do that by hand. So we've got it typed in, -1, 3, -1, 4. Now we can go back, just hit exit, and it brings you back here. Now we can type in matrix A. Matrix A is also a 2 by 2. And type in those numbers, 2, -1, 3, 5. So we have them both typed in. So hit exit just a couple times to get back to the main screen here, the main calculator piece that you're used to. So now to do this operation, we have to press the matrix button. So we're going to type this in whenever we want matrix C. We're just going to push the matrix button, which on my calculator is right above number 2. It's probably the same for most of you, just says MAT. We're going to do 3 times matrix, so you got to hit shift matrix, and then that matrix is letter C, so now you do alpha C. If you want, you could just hit EXE right there and it will tell you. You can check it with what we've got, -3, 9, 3, -3, 12. That is what we had. If you didn't want to hit the answer right there, you can just now add on minus matrix A. But every time you have to push that matrix button when you're talking about matrix A, because matrix A is different than just A if you have a number stored there. So now when we do this, it will give us the final answer, -5, 10, -6, 7, just like we had right here. It can also do multiplication, just like we did right here. You can type in your two matrices. So let's go back to matrix because let's check A, make sure it's the same one. 2, -1, 3, 5, yep. And now let's go to matrix B. It was a 2 by 3 columns, so 2 by 3. Type in those numbers. Just make sure you don't type anything wrong. Just one quick check before we're done. And now we are multiplying. So we go back to our main, hit exit till we get back to this screen. And we're just doing matrix A times B. So matrix A, so shift matrix alpha A times shift matrix alpha B. I'll move it aside so we can check. -4, 14, -12, 7, -5, 21. Same thing. So calculator can do it. You can do it by hand also. It's not hard. Just a couple of steps. The process is the hardest part. And if you use these boxes, that's by far the easiest thing I've seen on how to do it. So, all right, let's do another one. B times D. So write them side by side. And their dimensions. This is a 2 by 3. And then matrix D goes next. And this is a 3 by 2. Again, those inside numbers have to match, and they do. The outside will be the size of our answer. Our answer will be a 2 by 2. So we can set our boxes up. And remember, in each box, we just do all the products. So for the top left, we multiply top times left. First number is -1 times positive 2 is -2. Then 5 times -1 is -5. And -3 times -2 is +6. We're going to add up those three numbers and put them in our final answer. You can do it now, you can do it later. It does not matter. For our next top right box, we're going to do the top times the right. So top would be -1 times 3, 5 times 4, and -3 times 2. And again, we're going to add those up. You can do it now, you can do it later. Bottom left box, we're doing bottom times left. 2 times 2, -4 times -1, 6 times -2. And then bottom right box is bottom times right. 2 times 3, -4 times 4, and 6 times 2. Add up each of those sets of numbers like we talked about. -2, -5, that's -7. +6 is -1. -3 and -6 is -9. +20 would be 11. 4 and 4 is 8. -12 is -4. And then 6 plus 12 is 18. -16 is 2. So again, we can check that with our calculator. So let's go into our matrix. I don't think we've typed in D yet. D is a, what do we say, 3 by 2. So our numbers are 2, and then 3, -1, 4, -2, 2. Again, hit exit a couple of times to get you back to your calculator screen, and we are multiplying matrix B. Let's make sure that's the same one. I think I kept it the same. Yeah. So it's matrix, shift, matrix, B, alpha, B, oops, times matrix D, so shift, matrix, alpha, D. -1, 11, -4, 2. Perfect. So one thing I want to point out with this is the order of these does matter. In multiplication with numbers, order does not matter. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. But for matrices, it does. And this simple explanation would just be, for this example, we'd get a different size answer even. So if we switch this, if the 3 by 2 was first, followed by the 2 by 3, the numbers would still match. We'd still be able to do it, but our answer would be a 3 by 3 instead of a 2 by 2. So just checking the dimensions, you can see it's a different result. So order matters on multiplication of matrices. Order matters. All right, so here's DA, and then we'll do AD. So this is exactly what we were just talking about. It's the same two. We're multiplying D times A and then A times D. We're going to see that order matters. So DA, we got to write D first. And then A. This is a 3 by 2, and this is a 2 by 2. Inside numbers match, outside's 3 by 2. That's how big our answer will be. So we're going to make boxes that are 3 by 2. So we need 3 rows of numbers. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then we just need 2 going across. 1, 2, 3 by 2 columns. So when we do the top left, we do top times left. 2 times 2, 3 times 3. Top right, we do top times right. That's -2 and 15. Middle left, we do middle times left. -2 and 12. Middle right, we do middle times right. 4 times 5 is 20. Bottom left, we do bottom times left. That's -4, and 2 times 3 is 6. Bottom right, we do bottom times right. -2, -1, and 2 times 5. And for each of these, we just add it up and get the numbers for each spot. So 4 and 9, that's 13. Negative 2 and 15, that's 13. Negative 2 and 12 is 10. 21. Negative 4, 6, that's 2. 10 and 2 is 12. And again, we could check that with our calculator. I think we have all of these typed in now. Yeah, we've done all of these. So we can do shift matrix alpha D was first times shift matrix alpha A. Check that with what we wrote, 13, 13, 10, 21, 2, 12. Perfect. All right, last one. Write them out, A first and then D. So this is a 2, negative 1, 3, 5. This is a 2 by 2 matrix. And then D. Remember, you have to write it the order that it says. And this is a 3 by 2. Now right here, super easy. The middle numbers, they don't match, which means you cannot multiply, which just means this is undefined. That's it. You just cannot multiply this. If you tried it on your calculator, matrix A times matrix D gives you dimension error because the dimensions don't match. It just doesn't work. All right, that's it. Post your comments, leave your questions, get your homework done, and we'll see you next time.